And so in the month of February, what we're going to be doing in February, this month, we're going to be focusing on a 4 weeks. Somebody holler 4 weeks. It's a 4-week series, I'm been talking about, and that is advance in our identity. It's all about our identity. All right. So I'm going to kick it off on today, advance in identity. That's what we're going to be talking about, because identity is important. Remember, this is the year of revelation, not just result. All right. So it's not just about result, trying to get some stuff done, but rather it's about revelation. So family, before we ever talk about advancing, y'all know that this year is our season 2. It's our season 2. All right, it's our season 2. All right, from Deuteronomy chapter 1, you have been at this mountain long enough. I want you to break camp and I want you to advance. And this year we believe in God that we'll advance in our faith, we'll advance in our family, we'll advance in our finances, we'll advance in our health, our flesh, and we'll advance in our future. But before we ever talk about advancing in purpose or advancing in promise or advancing in position, we must first talk about advancing in identity. All right, we must first talk about advancing in identity, because everything in your life flows from what you believe about who you are and who you belong to. Let me say that again. Everything in life flows from where you believe in who you are and who you belong to. Your prayers are shaped by your identity. Your obedience is shaped by your identity. Your confidence or your hesitation is shaped by your identity. And you will never consistently walk beyond the way you see yourself. You will never consistently walk beyond the way you see yourself. And many believers are frustrated because they are praying for movement, but God is addressing mindset. Many of you are praying for movement. God, I need you to move in my finance. I need you to move in my family. I need you to move in my health. I need you to move in my wealth. But God is trying to address your mindset. They ask for doors to open. How many of you believe in God for doors to be open? But God is asking for identity to mature. You see, the enemy does not need to stop your progress if he can confuse your identity. Let me say it again. The enemy does not need to stop your progress if he can confuse your identity. He does not have to block the promise if he can convince you that you're not worthy to receive it. And that is why Numbers chapter 13 is so important. In Numbers chapter 13, it is so powerful that you and I have to understand that it lays the foundation for you and I to understand our identity. In Numbers chapter 13, verse number 26, it reads, they came back to Moses and Aaron and the whole Israelite community at Kadesh in the desert of Paran. There they reported to them and to the whole assembly and showed them the fruit of the land. They gave Moses this account. We went into the land to which you send us, and it does flow with milk and honey. Here is its fruit, but the people who live there are powerful, and the cities are fortified and very large. We even saw the descendants of Anak, the Amorites lived in that group, the Hittite, the Jebusite, and the Amorites lived in the hill country, and the Canaanites lived near the sea along the Jordan. Then Caleb silenced the people before Moses and said, we should go up and take possession of the land, for we can certainly do it. But the man who had gone up with him said, we can't attack those people. They are stronger than we are. And they spread among the Israelites a bad report. Somebody say bad report. And they spread a bad report about the land they had explored. They said, the land we checked out devours those living in it. All the people we saw there are great size. We saw the Nephilim there. The descendant of Anak come from the Nephilim. We seem like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we look the same to them. Let's read it again. We seem like what? Like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we look Let's read that one more time. We seem like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we look the same to them. Oh my God. We want to talk about we need to advance in our identity. Hello, somebody. You see, it's not what people think about you or how people see you, it's how you see yourself and how you think about yourself. And that's really what Numbers is all about. In Numbers, the Lord had promised the children of Israel that I'm going to give you a land flowing with milk and honey. And we know that God has made some promises to you and I this year. That God said that he's going to open doors that no man can close. That he's going to make ways for us. That he's going to supply all of our needs. And while we've stepped into this year on this brand new month, many of us are frustrated because we have prayed and nothing has moved. We believe God and no door has opened, and the enemy has caused doubt. Somebody holler doubt. And many of us, you see, the enemy does not need to stop your progress if he can confuse your identity. That's why Jesus asked the disciple, who do men say that I am? And then he goes a little step further. He said, okay, I know what they're saying about me on Facebook, on YouTube and TikTok, but who do you say that I am? And Peter raised his hand, and Peter said, thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God, because identity is prerequisite to your destiny. I'll say that again. Identity is prerequisite to your destiny. Remember when Jesus is at the water, he's being baptized by John, and the Bible said the heaven opens up, a dove descended, and he hears a voice from heaven saying, this is my beloved son. Look at you and say, God is already pleased with you. Come on, tell him, say, God. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. This is my beloved son. Hey, don't keep the QR code up there until I get to it. Thank you. I want to see that. All right. This is my beloved son in whom I am well pleased. Now, Jesus haven't even baptized anybody. He hasn't performed any miracle. He hasn't healed anybody. He hasn't delivered anybody. And the Father is already pleased. Okay, y'all missed it. The Father, this is my beloved child in whom I'm already pleased. I'm already pleased with you, even if you don't do anything else, because the Father is concerned about being and not doing. I want y'all to catch the revelation. We are human. We are human. We are human. All right, we got the newlyweds up in here. If she don't cook another meal, he's already pleased. If he don't clean her car, she's already pleased. Because the mere fact that they are being and not doing. Hello, somebody. They are being husband and wife. Hello, somebody. And because if you have to perform for somebody to love you, when you cannot perform anymore, they'll stop loving you. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And so that's why the beautiful thing about it is that the love that God has for us, it is not performance based. Oh my God. It is not performance based. All right. It does not have to do it if you do anything else. Now, love makes you do it. Love will make him clean the car, because love is a verb. Hello, somebody. Love is an action word. Hello, somebody. So I do what I do because I love. Hello, somebody. And love is not a law. It's a relationship. Hello, so I have a t-shirt years ago. It's called Law. It said love always win. Y'all remember that movie Boomerang? All right, where love should have brought you home last night. Hello. Love makes James come home. Hello, somebody. Hello, somebody. Love make her prepares a meal. He can't put his foot down and say, you better cook a meal for me. No. Love. And if you don't do it out of love, the Bible said that if you can speak in tongues, you can prophesy, but if you do not have what month are we in? We're in the love month. You are sounding brass and you are thinking cymbal. So everything I do is out of love. And Colossians said, whatsoever you do in words or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord, or do it out of love. You see, my brothers and sisters, the enemy doesn't have to block the promise if he can convince you that you are not worthy to receive it. And that's when Numbers chapter 13 is so powerful. You see, in Numbers chapter 13 and Numbers chapter 12, God had already spoken, God had already promised, and God had already declared the land belonged to Israel. Now listen, I already told y'all that God had declared what 2026 was going to be. He said, remind y'all that this year is already spoken for. All right, did y'all catch that? James, get my face cloth right there. He said, I want to remind you that this year is already spoken for. This year was not about the Eagles. This year is not about the Seahawks. This year was not about the Commanders. God said that 2026, the number 26, is Yahweh. All right, that's Yahweh. So this name got God name all over it. This name is already spoken for. Before you stepped into this year, God had already made some promises. Hello, somebody. All right, God had promised the children of Israel before they got to the promised land. God had already promised them. God had already declared the land belonged to them. He had already declared that he was going to bless them. The issue was the people's perception of themselves. The issue was the people's what? Perception of themselves. There is a book we studied a couple of years ago that if you don't see right, you will not submit right, you will not serve right, and you will not sow right. Oh my God. Hello, somebody. If you don't see me right, you will not submit right, you will not sow right, and you will not serve right. And some of you got bad eyesight. Hello, somebody. You need God to clear up your vision of how you see yourself. Hello, somebody. And the Bible said, without a vision, somebody had a vision. You ought to say, God, give me a vision of myself. Give me a vision of myself. Hello, somebody. I am not the borrower, I'm the lender. I'm not the tail, I am the head. I am blessed in the city. I'm not a victim, I'm victorious. Hello, somebody. How you see yourself makes a difference. Because listen, my brothers and sisters, promise without identity will always produce hesitation. I gotta say that again. Promise without, y'all know this season you're gonna need pen and paper. Y'all know, or your iPhone or your iPad. All right. Promise without identity will always produce hesitation. And so in Numbers chapter 13, Moses sent 12. Somebody holler 12. And I was praying with as cold as it was outside. I was praying for 12 people to show up today. I was just praying for 12, and I got more than 12. So I give God some praise. All right. Now God told me at the beginning of this year, he said, I want you to go into the building every Sunday. And now God had already factored it was going to be 14 degrees. God already factored it was going to be cold. But God said obedience is better than sacrifice. Whether you come on that, God told me this year, I want you to advance and I want you to get dressed every morning. I don't want you to log into Zoom. I want you to make your way, unless Pastor Jenkins and First Baptist Church of Glennon shut the building down like they did last Sunday. I want you to get dressed. I want you to get full makeup on, put your lashes on. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? Get you some lipstick on, and what you laughing at? I see you laughing at Pastor Jeff. And I want you to get in your car, and I want you to get in the building. And he said, and I am going to cause those who need to be in the building to follow the voice and the assignment that I've given you. We're not doing any extra calling to no extra deacon. We're not calling any preacher. We're not sending no bird over your house. We're not sending no pigeon over to your house. We're not sending no taxi to pick you up, no Uber, because my sheep knows my voice and another they will not follow. Oh, y'all hear what I'm saying? So the Lord said, I want you to go in that place and I want you to preach from this place. So Moses sent 12. Somebody holler 12. He sent 12 spies to explore the land of Canaan. And let's be clear, they were not sent to decide whether the land could be taken. God had already decided that. They were sent to observe what God was about to give them. They were sent to observe what God was about to give them. So when the spies returned, all 12 agree on one thing: the land was good. Oh my, All 12 of them agree on one thing. The land was good. It was flowing with milk and honey. It had Pepsi and Coca-Cola. It had Chick-fil-A and McDonald's. Cam and Coke, they don't want milk and honey. They need Chick-fil-A and McDonald's. The land was flowing with milk and honey. And God did not exaggerate the promise. But 10, somebody holler 10. But 10 spies added a but, a B-U-T. Hello, somebody. All right. But the people are strong. But the city are fortified. But the giants are there. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And then they said something revealing. They said, we seem like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we look, oh my God, we look the same. Oh, we look the same to them. Now notice the order, Chad. They diminish themselves first. The giants never called them grasshoppers. Oh, come on. I said the giants never called themselves. They never called them grasshoppers. Fear did. And fear will make you rename yourself. Oh my God. No. They compared themselves instead of trusting God. They measured the promise against their limitation instead of God's power. They evaluated, listen real good, they evaluated the future through the lens of their past. I said they evaluated their future through the lens of their past. How many of you drove to church today? All right, so you understand that when you in the driver's seat, you got two side mirrors, and then they call it rear view mirrors, and then you got one in the middle, and that helps you look in the back. It makes you look to the side or the back, but the larger mirror is in the front. Hello, somebody. And many of you are evaluating your future through the lens of your past. You were broke in your past, so you think you're gonna be broke in your future. You were sick in your past, so you think you're gonna be sick in your future. You were struggling in your past, so you think you're gonna struggle in your future. I know what it is, because remember, I came to this country with how much? With how much? Don't come on. With how much? I came to this country with $32 in my pocket and a big dream. I mean, I am the product of a $32 seed. When I decided that I was going to come to this country and I finally get in my visa after being denied 7 times, I went back into my village and I said, I got the visa. And the people in my village scraped up $32 US. I had one suitcase, one pair of shoes, one outfit, and a big dream. And I came to this country with $32 in my pocket. I am the product of a $32 seed. Y'all got to catch the revelation. I said, I am the product of a $32 seed. But my goodness, that $32 is in the past. And every now and then the enemy runs to remind me that I'm still that little girl with $32. And I got to show him my bank account and say, no, the devil is a liar. Now, I told y'all that I'm planning to hit my first million at 60. I got 2 more years to get there. Y'all missing my cue. When I performed that wedding in December, I came back and I told y'all that I was the pastor who performed the wedding, but in 2 years, in my 60s, I'm going to be the bride. Hello, somebody. It's going to be Here Comes the Bride. I told y'all I already had a dream of it. Did I tell you I had a dream? I got married at First Baptist Church of Glen Arden. I mean, the dream was so vivid, I woke up and I wrote it down. Teresa, Nikki, and Antoinette was the wedding coordinator. All of y'all was sitting on the left side. Pastor Jenkins was performing the wedding, and the deacons lined up coming, bringing me down the aisle. My first brother, Kojo, brought me the first distance. Then my brother, Glenn, Cam, and Chloe was the ring bearer. Y'all ain't hearing me. I mean, I had such a vivid dream. All right. And in the dream, when Pastor Jenkins said, who gave this woman to be married? All of Victory stood up and said, we did. And Sister Pat said, finally. I mean, all of that was in the dream. I can't reveal him yet, but even the brother, I have his full name, his description, all a dream, y'all. I woke up that morning. Didn't I call you? I said, girl, I got married. I called Cam and Chloe. I said, Cam and Chloe, Auntie Jazzy is getting married. Chloe's like, for real? I said, yeah. I saw it in a dream. I y'all hear what I'm saying? And I am going to live to see the manifestation. And so when I performed that wedding in December, I took Chloe because I said, Chloe, you got to see what you're going to do when I'm getting. You see, you cannot evaluate the future through the lens of your past. I've been divorced in my past, but I'm not going to always be divorced. I've been broke in my past, but I'm not going to always be broke. I've been struggling in my past, but I'm not going to always be struggling. Or I'm trying to tell you that you got to change how you view your future and don't view your future from your past. You see, though their body, listen real good, though their bodies had left Egypt, Egypt never left their mind. Though their body left Egypt, y'all know where Egypt is. Egypt is the past. Egypt is when we were slaves. Egypt was when we were struggling. And many of you, God has brought you out of Egypt. You know, I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but there's a whole lot of people from the Caribbean who think America is just Brooklyn. I'm telling you that most people who come from the Caribbean, they hang out in Brooklyn, Queens, or New York. That's all they think. They have never been outside of New York. They think America is just one state. And sometimes years ago when I went to visit some people in New York, it blew my mind that everything they did in Trinidad or Jamaica, they did in New York. They were still washing clothes like they didn't, like they didn't have a washing machine. They were still hanging clothes. I said, what in the world? They were still hanging clothes. Am I talking the truth? Deacon Elena, they were still hanging clothes like if they were back in Trinidad. They were still talking like they were from Trinidad. They were still acting and behaving. They came out of Egypt, but Egypt never came out of them. Oh, y'all gotta catch this. Yeah. They came out of a country, and it doesn't mean that you reject your culture, but why come out of something and be, oh my goodness. And I thank God. Yes, I went through New York. I remember living with my brother in New York. Oh my goodness. Listen, if there was a fire, I would have been burned up because I know he had at least 16 locks to come out. Chuck. And he said, when you come, 16 locks. And when you come back in there, chuck. I didn't want to go nowhere. It took a half an hour to get out of. And I remember he would tell me, he said, you get on the subway and you don't look at people. I'm walking on the subway. I'm in America. I'm waving at people. I'm smiling. And he said, look straight ahead. Don't you look at anybody. And I remember as I lived in New York maybe for a couple of months. And then I was taken upstate New York so I can go to school. Binghamton, New York. Syracuse. Hello, so anybody? Call New York. Amen. I got up there by a prayer because the driver with my brother who drove me up there, we found that his license was expired. I'm telling you, it was something. We got up there and I got into school. It was an all-white school. And my first friend that I met was Glenn Moore, this Caucasian boy. I might have had a crush on him, Glenn Moore. And Glenn Moore, he realized that I was from Trinidad and I had nowhere to go for the summer. So he invited me to his family's house in the cottage. In upstate New York. Oh my God. And listen, they had horses and they had land upon land and they had these snowmobiles. That's where I learned to ski. Hello, somebody. That's where I learned to ice skate. Hello, somebody. That's where I got my first kiss. Oh, stay focused. All right. Stay focused. Oh, my first kiss from a white brother. Pray for me. I'm just having a flashback right there. But what he did is that he exposed me. Oh, he exposed me. Am I talking to anybody? I saw a glimpse of my future. I said, I saw a glimpse of my future. The house was so huge that you can live on one side of the house. I've never seen a house like that. And I remember sitting there and saying, my God. I remember when I got my first paycheck. I was washing dishes in college and I got my first paycheck. It was $142. And I go to the bank and they said, how you want it? I said, all ones. I got all ones. And James, I went back to my room, my door, and Jasmine, I laid out on my bed. I jumped on it and I said, I'm a millionaire. I wish I had somebody in here. I said, I'm a millionaire. All of that was exposure. I declare and decree that God is going to put you in rooms that you never thought of. I pray that God will expose you into places and rooms that you never thought. I pray that God will expand your capacity. And to say the slavery mindset is occupying too many of us. I said the slavery mindset. What is the slavery mindset, Stephanie? The slavery mindset says, I'm not enough. The slavery mindset said, I'm not good enough. The slavery mindset said, I don't have what it takes. The slavery, that's what took so long for me to even think about getting married. Because when you focus on your past and you've been through a divorce, you don't think you're good enough to be loved. But I realized the problem wasn't love, it was the person who I choose to love. Y'all missed that right there. Y'all missed it right there. Yeah. Sometimes we throw everything out, but the problem is not marriage. Sometimes it's the wrong person. Hello, somebody. So sometimes we say, I don't have what it takes. This is too big for me. And because of that mindset, an entire generation wandered for 40 years. Not because God failed, not because the promise expired, but because identity never shifted. Oh my God. And what is the consequences of a slavery mindset? A slavery mindset delays promises. My God. What did I say? A slavery mindset delays promises. My brothers and sisters, the longer we have a slave mindset, it delays promises. And many of us cannot occupy the promises we have because we have a slave mindset. Numbers chapter 13. Who is reading? All right, let's put it on the screen. I'm on point number 2. A slavery mindset delays promises. In Numbers chapter 13, verse 32 to 33, they had a grasshopper mentality. May you not have a grasshopper mentality this year. I said, may you not have a grasshopper mentality. Look at verse number 32. Let's read.
And they spread among the Israelites a bad report about the land they had explored. They said, the land we explored devours those living in it. All the people we saw there are of great size. We saw the Nephilim there. The descendants of Anak come from the Nephilim. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes. Yeah, and we looked the same to them.
Thank you. And whenever you have a slavery mindset, the first obstacle is you want to go back home. That's Numbers chapter 14. In Numbers chapter 14, they desire to what? Go back home. They want to go back home. Look what it said. Let's read it. Verse number 1.
That night, all the members of the community raised their voices and wept aloud. All the Israelites grumbled against Moses and Aaron. And
look at you and say, what you grumbling? What you murmuring? Why Pastor got us coming out here in this building? Watch your mouth. What you grumbling and what you murmuring? Look at you and say, it's a test. Make sure you pass the test. Oh my God. All right, read on.
And the whole assembly said to them, if only we had died in Egypt or in this wilderness. Why is the Lord bringing us to this land only to let us fall by the sword? Our wives and children will be taken as plunder. Wouldn't it be better for us to go back to Egypt?
Oh my God. Now, it's like saying, wouldn't it be better to go back to Trinidad or go back to Jamaica or go back to here or to go back to Jericho? You see how they exaggerate? Our children, everybody going to be plundered and taken over. It's because that's a slavery mindset. Israel wandered just close enough to see the promise, but never close enough to possess it. There is nothing more tragic than being near destiny but blocked by disbelief. There is nothing more. So you're so close. There's nothing more tragic than being near to destiny but blocked by disbelief. A slavery mindset always produces delay. A slavery mindset always produces delay. It causes people to circle what God told them to conquer. Wow. Oh God, let me say, it causes people to circle what God told them to conquer. It causes hesitation where there should be obedience. And God will not force you into promise while you still identify with bondage. He loves us too much to give us new territory while we're still thinking like captives. My God. You see, you cannot, somebody say you cannot possess new territory with old mindset. And some of us today are not waiting on God. God is waiting on us to see ourselves differently. That Caleb and Joshua saw themselves differently. That brings us to point number 3. And that is covenant identity produces courage. Covenant identity produces courage. Look at Numbers chapter 14, verse number 8 and 9. All right, look at verse number 8 and 9. Verse 8 and 9, Numbers 14.
If the Lord is pleased with us, he will lead us into that land, a land flowing with milk and honey, and will give it to us. Only do not rebel against the Lord, and do not be afraid of the people of the land, because we will devour them.
All
Their
right.
protection is gone, but the Lord is with us.
All right, and let's look at the next verse, and that is Exodus chapter 15, verse number 13.
In your unfailing love, you will lead the people.
Let's read it out loud together, if y'all can read it.
In your unfailing love, you will lead the people in your strength, you will guide them to your holy dwelling.
And remember, I told y'all I want you to read it, even though she's reading. I want you, even though you're muted, I want you to read it, because this is the decade of voice activation. You got to activate it with your voice. You can see it, but if you don't read it out loud, you got to activate it. So the text said, but then there were two. Somebody holler two. Look at you and say, I'm one of the two. Oh, that's what say, I am one of the two. Oh, this is so important, because the Bible said, where 2 or 3 agree in touching anything, it shall be done. It said, how can 2 walk together unless they agree? The text said, but then there were 2 voices that refused to agree with fear. Somebody say, I refuse to agree with fear. Caleb and Joshua stood up and said, let us go up at once and take possession, for we are able. Somebody say, we are able. Now you guys say with authority, we are able. He said, we not just are we able, we are well able. So we are well able to overcome it. They saw the same giants. They walked on the same land. They heard the same report. The difference was not information, it was identification. Oh my God. Okay, y'all miss it. All 12 of them walked on the same land. They saw the same giant. They heard the same report, but there was something about the 2 of them, Caleb and Joshua, and it was not information, it was identification. Caleb and Joshua did not put confidence in their own strength. They put confidence in God's covenant. They remembered, if God brought us out of slavery, he will bring us into promise. If God parted the Red Sea, giants don't scare him. If God sustained us in the wilderness, walls won't stop him. And Numbers 14 says, if the Lord delights in us, he will bring us into his land. That is the language of identity. Not arrogance, but identity. Not denial, but covenant confidence. They didn't say we are strong. They said God is with us. And when identity is rooted in God, fear loses authority. I said, when identity is rooted in God, fear loses its authority. That brings us to point number 4, and that is identity determines movement. What did I say? Identity determines movement. What did I say? Identity determines movement. All right, look at Romans chapter 12, verse number 2. I beseech you, therefore, but verse number 2, let's read it out loud together. Be not conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the
renewing of your mind,
that you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, his
pleasing and perfect will.
That's right. And then Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 6 and 8. Y'all know it. Let's read it out. The Lord our God said to, you have stayed long at this. You can read. Break camp and advance into the. We'll stop right there for the sake of time. Listen, he said, you have stayed here long enough. Identity determines what? Movement. And here is the truth. You don't advance based on opportunity. You advance based on identity. I gotta say that you do not advance, Jasmine, based on opportunity. You advance based on identity. If you still see yourself broken, you will resist being healed. If you still see yourself as unworthy, you will avoid calling. If you still see yourself as lacking, you will fear abundance. Many believers are saved, sanctified, but still living a slavery mindset. They worship God, but struggle to trust his love for them. They obey God, but they hesitate when it's time to step forward. And Israel left Egypt physically, but Egypt left a mental residue. I said Egypt left a mental residue. And God says, before I shift your location, I must shift your perception. I'm teaching better than y'all responded. He said, before I shift your location, I must shift your perception. You see, advancement begins when you declare, I am no longer who I used to be. I wish y'all would say, I am no longer who I used to be. Look at me and say, I am no longer who I used to be. Put it in the chat. I am no longer who I used to be. I am not that little girl from Trinidad. I am not that little girl who was raped at 14. I am not that little girl who was molested in my village. I am not that little girl whose mom died. I'm not that little girl who was abandoned by her father. I am not that little girl who was broke and disgusted in a little village called Laventille. I am no longer who I used to be. Because the Bible said, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. All things, somebody holler, all things are passed away, and behold, all things have become new. I am no longer who I used to be, and I am not what I am going to be. Y'all missed it. I said I am no longer what I used to be, and I am not what I am going to be. It does not yet appear what we shall be, but we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. And the scripture said, now are we the sons of God. Oh, look here, say, now are we the sons of God. Who are you? You are the sons of God. Who are you? You're the apple of his eye. Now are you the sons of God. And it does not yet appear what we shall be, but we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. Oh, you ought to thank God that you're not what you used to be. If you're still what you used to be, you'll cuss somebody out by now. Hello, somebody. I am no longer who I used to be. I am no longer the pastor that was at Shiloh Baptist Church. I am not the pastor at Jericho City of Praise. And some of you can't get with me now because you trying to get the pastor that you met 10 years ago. But my brothers and sisters, we move from glory to glory. I am not what I used to be. Hello, somebody. I thank God I'm no longer who I used to be. And so that brings us to the New Testament, because everything we read up to now has been Old Testament. But we have to advance as children and not slaves. That's number 5. We have to advance as what? As children and not slave. Now let's look at the New Testament, and that brings us to point 5. We advance, say it out loud. We advance as Look at your neighbor and say, I'm no longer a slave. Come on, say, I'm no longer a slave. Say it with authority, I'm no longer a slave. Yeah, that's right. You're no longer a slave. Well, if you're not a slave, what are you? Romans chapter 8, verse 15. Romans chapter 8. Let's read out loud. The spirit you receive does not make you slave so that you live in fear again. Rather, the spirit you receive brought about
your adoption to sonship.
And by him we cry,
Abba, Father.
Oh, look at him and say, I'm no longer a slave. I'm no longer a slave. I am a son. I'm a child of God. Look at Ephesians chapter 1. Ephesians chapter 1, verse 6. Let's read out loud, verse 4. For
he chose us in him
before the creation of the world to be holy and blameless in his sight, in love.
He predestined us for adoption to sonship through Jesus Christ, in accordance with his pleasure and will, to the praise of his glorious grace, which he has freely given us in the one he loves.
Look, John writes, see what great love the Father has lavished on us, that we should be called children or sons of God. Now listen, we're not servants. We're not employees. We're not distinct followers. We are sons of God. And Paul explained in Romans chapter 8 that we have received the spirit of adoption and not the spirit of fear. Adoption means chosen. Anybody adopted in here? It means you're chosen, all right? You know what it is, Miss Margaret? Somebody choose you. Hello, so you were adopted. Hello, somebody. Somebody came and they saw all of these kids and some strange reason they choose you. You were adopted. Bishop Rosie O'Neill talked about that her father, she was in Germany, her mother was in Germany, and her father was in the military, and he came to Germany, and out of all the kids that was in the adoption agency, he comes over and he chooses her, and he calls back and he calls her mom, and he said, I found our baby. She was adopted. You know, Bishop O'Neill is, hello, somebody, she was chosen. She was set apart. Hello, somebody. And that's where you are. We are adopted. It means it was intentional, and it means permanent. Hello, somebody. And that's why we can cry, Abba, Father. That's the intimate language. That is access language. And Paul continues in Ephesians and tells us that before the foundation of the world, God chose us and adopted us through Jesus Christ. You know what that means? It means that you were not an afterthought. Okay, y'all miss your cue. I said you were not an afterthought. Whether you were born in luck, out of wedlock, whether they decided to have you or the rubber broke and they made a mistake. Hello, I look at you and say you were not an afterthought. You were not an afterthought. Yeah, now I told y'all the story. All my life I was trying to find my daddy because I lived in a little village called Laventille, and I had a good friend by the name of Yasmin. I'm Jasmine. Yasmin was my best friend. And they said, listen, your daddy is either one of these two people. Is this man who is in the village who was the village drunk. He was so drunk in the village. I mean, this brother, if you look at the table in front of you, he was drunk and he can walk this whole thing drunk. And that time it was like a rabbit and he will never fall in it. They said, your daddy is the village drunk. Or they said it's a man down the street by the name of Mr. Rudolph. And so I didn't want it to be the village drunk. And so I said, I'm going to go ask Mr. Rudolph. So I convinced my friend Yasmin. I said, let's go talk to Mr. Rudolph. And sure enough, I rang the door and I called Mr. Rudolph came. He knew who I was. And he said, little Jasmine, what you doing here? I said, I think you are my daddy. And Mr. Rudolph said to me, he said, no, I don't think so. I don't know why you came up with that idea that I'm your daddy. I mean, he went up one side of me. I mean, I felt this small. I felt terrible. He said, no, I'm not your daddy. And y'all heard me tell this story. Years ago, I found out that he was my daddy. It's just he had an affair with my mama. Hello, somebody. So he couldn't talk about it because the wife was in behind the door. Hello, somebody. Whether he's my daddy or not, I'm so grateful I'm not an afterthought. Okay. I said, whether he planned it or not, whether they planned it or not, God orchestrated it. That's why the drug can kill you. That's why anything can destroy you, because you're not an afterthought. God planned you before the foundation of this world. You were not barely included. You were intentionally wanted. Did y'all catch what I said? I said you were not barely included. You were intentionally wanted. It reminds me of the time when Bishop Jakes would come here and preach at the New Year's revival, and all these preachers were flying to town, but not really to hear the preacher of Bishop T.D. Jakes. They wanted to be invited to the after event. It's because after Bishop Jakes preached at the New Year's revival on Friday, they will have an after fellowship at Bishop Owen's house. And they said, ooh, if you got an invitation to go eat at this after party with Bishop T.D. Jakes, you are made it in. And showing up, it's like 40 people on the pulpit, and every preacher is acting like they're listening, but they waiting to see the lady. Yeah, they waiting for see the lady with the invitation. And the lady will come and she will be walking down and she would have 50 invitations. And I remember that day I'm sitting between Bishop Millicent Hunter and I'm sitting between Pastor Coco, Pastor Susie Owen, Millicent Hunter, and then I'm sitting with all these preachers, Bishop Clark, and the lady comes and she begin to give her. And I remember my son text me, because everybody know who the lady is. She's the envelope lady. She was the envelope lady. And when you saw her coming you like, oh God, Father, please let her give me an envelope. Every preacher wanted an envelope, and she started giving out envelope, and she gets some Bishop Millicent Hunter, and she give Millicent Hunter the envelope, and I'm after Millicent Hunter, and she said, hi, Dr. Jazz, and she crossed over me. My heart shrank. I was crying on the inside, and I remember saying this prayer: God, how much longer are you gonna let them overlook me? How much longer are they not gonna see me in this pulpit? How much longer are they gonna ignore me? And she gave out every envelope, and by that time she had no more envelope, and she went back to her seat. I looked down my row, and everybody on my row had an envelope, and I was shrinking, and I was feeling rejected, and I was hearing the enemy saying, you're nothing, you're no good. And I saw Pastor Jenkins about 3 steps in front of me, and he's waving his phone at me. He's waving his phone. He said, check your phone. And I turned my phone on and I checked my phone, and there was an address in the phone. He said, can you get to this place? I said, okay. And so I come out of the service, I show it to my son. He started shouting. He said, Mom, that's the place that Bishop Jakes is going to be. I didn't have an invitation from the woman, but I was intentionally invited. Oh, y'all gotta miss it. We got in the car and we drove to that place, and when we got there, I don't know, we were so excited. We were like a chariot. We outran the 50 people, and we got there before everybody, and there's 6 seats at the table, and Bishop Jakes is eating, and there's 1 seat left because all the other seat was taken, and everybody who didn't have the envelope had to go to the basement and eat. But when I got in there, Bishop Owen said, Jazz, Bishop Jakes don't like sitting at a table and there's an empty seat. He said, grab a plate and please go sit on that seat. I grabbed the plate. I didn't put no food on the plate. I just grabbed the plate, and sure enough, I just got on the seat, and Lord, there's Bishop Jakes, and there's co-pastor Susie Owens, and then there's all these Bishop Millicent Hunter, and here I am sitting there, and I didn't even know, because I didn't have no food on the plate. Bishop Jakes looks and said, now wait a minute, am I supposed to eat or not? Because you're not eating. I said, I didn't come to eat natural food. I came to hear what you got to say. Oh, I'm getting happy all by myself. I sat there, and showing Bishop Owens comes, he had peach cobbler on his plate, and between him chewing the peach cobbler, he said, Bishop Jakes, have you ever heard of Dr. Jazz? He said, I heard her feet from a distance. Oh, y'all miss her. He said, I heard her coming in a track. Oh, and the rest is history. All I'm trying to tell you is that I was not barely included. I was intentionally wanted. Oh, I wish I had somebody in here that knows that when God chooses you, even if man don't give you an invitation, when it's your turn and when it's your time, God will open doors for you. He'll make ways for you. He will put you in rooms that you never imagined, and you are not a second-class citizen. Hello, somebody. You are not a second-class citizen. You received the name. They received the inheritance. They received the authority. And when you know who you are, you'll stop begging. Oh, you'll miss your cue right. I said, when you know who you are, you will stop begging. Or when you know who you are, you'll stop shrinking. When you know who you are able to advance boldly. And that brings me to the last point, and that is living and moving from sonship. How you gonna move? I'm gonna move from what? Sonship. You gotta live and move from sonship, from not from fear but sonship. And so now the question is, what would change if you truly believe you were the child of God? What would change if you would hear me for real? Not just hear me, but hear me for real. How would you pray? You'll stop praying this big, Lord God bless me, please bless. No, you will pray with authority. Come boldly to the throne of grace that you may obtain grace and mercy. You'll stop pleading and start commanding. Oh my God, my God. When you know who you are, you stop apologizing for who you are. You would pray with authority. You will obey with confidence. You will step forward with grace. Children trust their father. Children expect provision. And because I may not have known the person who was handing out the envelope, I knew who Pastor Jenkins was. And I trust his love. And he wouldn't have given me an address to insult me. He wouldn't have put me in a room that was going to belittle me. And did I tell you, when I got to the house, he was right at the door. Oh, Pastor Jenkins was right at the door. He said, come on in, Jan. And I said, and I didn't just go into, I brought my son with me. I didn't tell him stay in the car. I brought my son in because I knew who I was. Y'all miss that text from Pastor Jenkins pucked me up and reminded me that you are a child of God. And every now and then I got to remind myself, I may not have a building, but I'm still the daughter of thunder. Y'all miss it. I may not have a mega ministry where thousands of people are around, but I'm still the daughter of thunder. I'm still the chosen of God. I'm still the head and not the tail. I'm above and not beneath. And you know, this morning when I was getting dressed, God had to remind me, I send you to Jericho, not because Jericho made you. I send you to Jericho because I put something inside of you. And you may not be a Jericho, but the gift and the calling of God is without, y'all missed it. It's without repentance. The car don't make you. The clothes don't make you. The crib don't make you. The building don't make you. You got to know who you are. Some people need their name on the marquee to know who they are. When I first started off, listen, Chad and James, I had a tailor by the name of Michael Song. He still comes to town, and every now and then he texts me and say, text me. He said, I'm at this place if you want some suit made. And I made the worst mistake in my 20s. I had all my suits made with my name on it. I can't even give it to nobody. Hello, somebody. And that's because I didn't know who I was. So I had to have my name here. I had to have my name somewhere. But when you know who you are, you don't even have to put your name on it. Okay, y'all miss it. I told you I just came back from St. Louis. I did that funeral in St. Louis. He was there. We caught an Uber and we go to the church to do the service, and it's a Southern Baptist church. And the man in the office already is telling us in the office, this is a Southern Baptist church. That means we don't believe in women preachers. He said, now, you can't preach from that pulpit. We in the back room. He's already telling me, he said, you can't preach from the pulpit, and we're going to call you speaker. Then he prayed the prayer. He said, Father, we thank you for the speaker. I said, all right, thank you for the speaker. He said, you're not going to preach from that pulpit. But the good thing is, here comes the grace. He said, I ain't going to sit up there and make you feel bad. I'm going to sit right next to you. I said, come on down. I said, show enough. So he sat next to me, and sure enough, we got in there. Before we even got in the sanctuary, we asking the lady, hey, where can we put our suitcase? She said, oh, you can put it there, but I ain't going to watch it. I said, no worries. We got it. We already know what kind of place we enter. And sure enough, we sat there, and the man said, hey, listen, you're going to get to preach, and there's the podium right there. I said, no worries. And sure enough, we preach up in there for the funeral, and after that, we go back in the back office, and he said, now look at here. I wish I had. He said, look here, look here, look here. Y'all don't know what look here. He said, look here, look here. Now as Southern Baptists, we don't believe in women preaching. He said, but a Methodist, you sure preach. Yeah, and I found out he was Methodist that pastored a Southern Baptist. So as a Southern Baptist, he can endorse me. So he said, as a Southern Baptist, we don't believe in preacher. He said, but at a Methodist, you sure preach. Oh, y'all, man. Yeah. He said, my God. And there was like 4 men sitting next to him, and they kept on shaking our hand. And I said, God, I don't care what they call me, as long as your name is advanced.